तडितरुचि शुचि नौमि जनकसुतावरम् श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुण श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुण भजुदीनबन्धुदीनेश दानवदैत्यवंश निकन्दनं भजुदीनबन्धुदीनेश दानवदैत्यवंश निकन्दनं रघुनन्द आनन्द कन्द कोशल चन्द दशरथ नन्दनं रघुनन्द आनन्द कन्द कोशल चन्द दशरथ नन्दनं श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुणं श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुणं शिरमुकुटकुण्डलतिलक चारुदार अङ्गविभूषणं शिरमुकुटकुण्डलतिलक चारुदार अङ्गविभूषणम् आजानुभुजशर चापधर सङ्ग्रामजितकरभूषणम् आजानुभुजशर चापधर सङ्ग्रामजितकरभूषणम् श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुणं श्रीरामचन्द्र कृपालुभजमन हरणभवभयदारुणम् इति
सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Mr. Srinivasan, where are you? You have a question? In this chapter 9, we have been studying the human composition. How does waker, dreamer, deep sleeper fit into the human constitution? The other subtopics is basic constitution, composition, personality layers, gross, subtle, and causal bodies understandably gel with the title of the chapter. Okay, so where are you, Mr. Srinivasan? I can't see you anywhere. Yes, you're right. except that waker, dreamer, deep sleeper is another classification, right? We have been classifying the personality in various ways. So when the causal body alone functions, Madeline, is this your first class? Okay. So welcome to the class. We are studying about the human composition, the terminology we use for the various parts of our personality. Have you read the chapter we are currently on? You're muted, Madeline.
Mahesh has very kindly sent me all the YouTube videos, and I have been catching up slowly from chapter 6 to 9 and reading the book from 1 to 6. So I'm aware of the terminology.
Oh, okay, great. Who sent you the videos?
Mahesh?
Mahesh, oh, I see. Okay, you're Mahesh's friend. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So then you're familiar that we have vasanas, our inherent unmanifest desires. So when we are in the state of only vasanas, this state is called deep sleep. Only when the vasanas manifest as the mind and intellect, as our thoughts, this state is known as dream, because now there are thoughts in the dream. In deep sleep, there are no thoughts whatsoever. You just completely dead to everything. And in dream, you have thoughts, and these thoughts give rise to visions, but the body is still not functioning. So when the body also comes into manifestation, that means your actions and perceptions start in this world. It's called the waking state. So, Mr. Srinivasan, it is still part of the human composition because it's another classification. Instead of saying subtle body, causal body, subtle body, gross body, now we can also use the terms deep sleep, dreamer, dreaming, and waking. You can also use these terms. Now, as it so happens in life that when I talk about my life, right, I say, okay, I am so and so and I do such and such, I am always talking about the waker. Because when I'm talking, I am in that state. I have no comprehension of anything else. If I was in the dream, I would be saying with equal certainty that I am this somebody doing such and such, completely different maybe from what I would have asserted in the waking state. So he's drawing to our attention that it is part of the human composition. To me, if I say, what is my composition, then very clearly, I have this body, I have this mind, I have this intellect, whatever, right? What about that dreamer that I claimed to be last night? Is that not part of my composition? What about that state of nothingness? Say, no, those two should not be counted. Why should those two not be counted? Our whole life, remember, we are going round and round this cycle. We are a deep sleeper, we are a dreamer, we are a waker. Then again, we go round this cycle, round and round, it's going on, merry-go-round. But in any one of those states, I don't know about the merry-go-round. I just know of one. Only one is my reality. So when we step back, it is part of my human composition. No, just think about it. How much time in our lifetime will we be spending in sleep? The entire 9 months of the womb were in sleep. After being born, also most of it was in sleep. And then, up till 20, you're spending many hours sleeping in the day. Your mother's pulling you out of bed, but you continue to want to sleep. And then, of course, all the desires start playing, and then you don't sleep at all for some time. And then when you come into old age, again, you can't sleep anymore. I mean, again, old and gray and full of sleep. Like you can't sleep at night, but in the daytime, you're all the time. This is our life. This is everybody's life. You're watching television, you're going, you don't see youngsters doing that, right? But we will, all of us will do that. So we don't even consider the sleep as anything. What's that? But yes, we will spend a large part of our life in that, whether you like it or not. So part of the human composition. So when you're looking at yourself, please understand this whole picture. To which you'll say, what? Is it clear up to this point, Mr. Srinivasan? The whole thing forms the composition. Okay. Now the big question is always, why bother? As far as I'm in this state, this state is the real thing for me, and I'm living my life as best as I can. And so why bring in all this stuff? Because the whole point of Vedanta is to draw our attention to the fact that there may be something in our personality which is more inherently us and uncognized, unknown. We have a very strong sense of being, right? If I ask you, do you exist? Your answer is, of course I exist. What are you saying? But if I ask the question, what is that thing which makes you you? And then you look at your body, and very clearly you had different bodies. I don't mean like across lifetimes, but in this body, if you're a woman, definitely you've been always increasing and decreasing a little bit in life, right? Every time a little add, a little subtract. But even from that tiny single cellular thing that you were once, to the multicellular, to the little infant, to that 7-year-old, 20-year-old, 45-year-old, think of this body. It has not been consistent, and neither will it be. Suppose we meet Sarah after 50 years. Will we recognize her? Will we know that this is Sarah? Knowing her interest in health, one assumes she will be, but the rest of us may or may not. She may not recognize us. So will we look the same? Sometimes you look at stars, like these handsome guys and all, and who in their young days, and then you say, this is the same guy. They're sometimes not recognizably the same. The body changes so much. So am I getting my sense of identity, my sense of isness, my sense of being from this body? Cannot be, because it's changing and I continue to think it is me. Never have I looked at myself and said, this is not me. It's always me. I look at myself in the mirror and it's always me. If I looked at myself as an infant and I looked at that thing over there, that was me. I look at myself now in the mirror and I say, that is me. How? Why am I continuing this identity? The body has changed. What about the mind? Mind also. Remember in childhood what all we wanted, what all we felt? Remember those teenage years when how you felt? I don't feel like that anymore. Oh, I fell in love with this man. He is so everything. He is so this, he is so that. Have you seen her? She's so beautiful. I don't feel like that anymore. We say funny things, But we felt that. The mind felt that. Now we worry about so many things. Oh my God, what will happen about this? What will happen if there's nuclear war? And what will happen with COVID? And mind is filled with worries. That weren't there earlier. Even today, the kids don't worry about COVID. They're like, oh, okay, COVID is there. It's very little children. Their concept of school nowadays is looking at a computer screen. They get a culture shock if they have to actually go to a school and say, what's this? Why are there so many people around me? They don't know what to do. So the mind has changed, and yet every emotion over there, I've got mine. My identity is linked with that. What about intellect? Same story. My views have changed. What did I think then? What do I think now? And yet, they're mine. Everything that I know of has changed, and yet I know that there is some continuity. I don't know what that continuity is. Who am I? Who is that? What is that in me? That is me. That is always me. That is not changing, but it's me. I don't know that. So Vedanta says, wait, hold it. If you want to come to a good conclusion, you must take, firstly, all the data available to you. That's the first step, right? Unless you have all the data, how do you solve a problem? Imagine if I tell you that, whatever, remember in school we had length into breadth into whatever, length into breadth into width, right? And I tell you, so what is the area of the room? But I don't give you those figures, or I give you only 2 figures. There's no way I'm going to know. So take all the data. And what is the data? Take the whole composition. Take the fact that, this body, mind, and intellect that you claim to be changing is just 1/3 of it. It's just your waking world that you're talking about. What about that dream world? What about the nothingness or deep sleep? Take the whole data. Understand that your identity is changing a lot more than what you think it is on a daily basis. It's not just over a lifetime. Okay? Now suppose Shilpa finds this whole topic very boring and she just dozes off. And she dreams that she is, I don't know, in London chatting with the queen, and the queen is telling her how much trouble the queen has been facing. Okay? And Shilpa is very close to the queen, so the queen says, okay, I will make you Lady Shilpa. All this she's dreaming, so then she becomes Lady Shilpa. And she's whatever they call those ladies in waiting of the queen. All this she's dreaming. So she's living that life. She's in Buckingham Palace. She is going around with the queen. Whatever, she's living a particular life. And then suddenly the speaker talks loudly and she wakes up. She spent 3 minutes in that dream. Let's say a whole world was created and a whole world was dissolved. And while she was in that world, that was her world. There was no class going on. There was nothing. There was the queen, there was Lady Shilpa, there was being lady in waiting of the queen. A whole world created and dissolved. Whole thing, 3 minutes. Because when the world was created, was she created as a baby? It was 40-year-old Shilpa talking with the queen. And if the queen asked her, which year were you born in? She would have said 40 years ago. And if the queen had said to her, are you sure? She'd say, of course. I will show you my baby pictures. The camera date is on those things because they're all online. And the dream was 3 minutes. shouldn't this make us pause and ask the question, what then is real? Why do we ask the question? To realize that we don't know the reality. We are assuming reality. We must understand that we do not know reality. We just don't know. If you understand that you don't understand, you become a philosopher. If you say, oh, this is all false, then you will reach the mental asylum. So don't try any stunts. Just a basic understanding that I believe I have a firm foot to stand on, but actually it's not there. It's all very ambiguous. And I don't know what the truth is. It's easy for me to judge. It's easy for me to decide. It's easy for me to assert. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know. So what is that ultimate truth is what Vedanta is trying to lead us towards. But to go there, first we have to understand that. First thing we need to understand is what?
To get all the data.
Yes, even before that. That's correct. That's one of the steps. But even before that, what do we need to understand?
We don't know the reality.
That we don't know.
Very good. That we don't know the reality. Why is that so important for us to understand? Because it's instinctive to us to think that we know. That is why we can be so judgmental about everybody and everything. No, oh, he's right, he's wrong, she's done this, she's that. Like, we know everything. It's instinctive to us. If someone does something, we can say, you did something wrong. So sure. That's why, sometimes you study philosophy, it like pulls the carpet from under your feet. You just don't want to say anything to anyone because God alone knows now. Right, wrong, I really don't know. And therefore, the derivation, this concept about Indians being very tolerant comes from the idea of dharma, which is different for everybody. Everyone has their own dharma, and each one must follow their own. There is no, what should I say? Nobody to tell you what your dharma is. You will take your own call. Rightly or wrongly, but it's your call. What is dharma? What according to you is the right thing to be done? No, dharma, yes, Sarah, dharma. One of the meanings of dharma is religion, but dharma in this sense is your concept of what is right thing to be done. What's the correct thing according to you? So if you think about it, then according to the thief, it may be right to thief. I mean, for him it is right. So his dharma is to be a thief because that's what he can see. He can't see anything else. He thinks it's the right thing. That's why there's no moralistic stance in India, and unfortunately, the negative fallout of that is there are no rules in India. Everybody is a rule unto himself because nobody is trained to follow any rules over here. You're expected to be self-disciplined. There was a time where you were self-disciplined because the education system made you so, and then you were free to take your call. Now you're still free to take your call, but the education system doesn't give you the ability to take that call. So it's a bit crazy. Okay, so Kalyan, I'm unable to understand how in the deep sleep, where there are no thoughts, desire, and action, the consciousness manifests itself. Can you please help clarify? It manifests at a, I don't know whether you call it consciousness manifests, but the base idea is you, the deep sleeper, are conscious of nothingness. To pause for a moment to think about that. You, as the deep sleeper, are conscious of nothingness. If you were to be asked, what did you experience? You will say, I experienced nothing. If you had no consciousness, how would you know that you experienced nothing? Why don't you answer the question by saying, I don't know? You don't. You say, I experienced nothing. That means you experienced something in particular, which was the nothingness. So in that sense, there is some manifestation because something is telling you that there is nothing. Can't you get up and say, oh, I had deep sleep and a wonderful sleep? You have experienced, right? Something. What did you experience? The fact that there was nothing there. Is that clear?
Did I, ma'am? Because I don't know what was that. I can understand waking, dreaming, but after I wake up, since I didn't experience that nothingness in that sense, because I was not conscious, so that deep sleep, that there is a state called deep sleep, I'm not aware in that sense still.
Why not? Because you do know that there are some nights where you say, I dreamt. And there are some nights according to you, you did not dream. You know that, right?
Yes, yes.
So when you did not dream, what was it? No, there was nothing, you'll say. You're making a specific comment about it. You say, I had such deep sleep. Don't you say that?
Yeah, time went by 6 hours, I got up. Yes.
And so I ask you, what I was in such deep sleep means something, right? Or it means nothing. That statement means something to you. It is telling you something. It is not, I don't know, you're talking gibberish. It's not like that. There is some experience that you went through. An experience of nothingness. Now, you might say, what do you mean an experience of nothingness? Because it's important to understand the concept of nothing, because nothing is, okay, sorry to get so philosophical, but nothing has any conceptual base only when there is something. There is no concept of nothing unless there's a concept of something. So the pair of opposites, something and nothing, always goes together. So you always know either something or nothing. Because that's how we are programmed. I mean, that's our intellect. We only understand in pairs. We only understand tall and short. If I say tall, you automatically have a concept not short. If I say short, you automatically understand not tall. There is no singularity that we can ever understand. It's the only way we function. Only way your intellect understands. It always works in dvandvas. Dvandvas means pairs, two. That's why when they're trying to make all this artificial intelligence and they're trying to sort of make it like an intellect, they have to work in twos. They can't do, we can't function any other way. It's always in the pairs of opposites. So you understand something. I experienced something when I was sleeping, or I experienced nothing. So your absence of experience is something. And this absence of experience, therefore, has to be should I say, has to be distinguished from the experience of the self. The experience of the self is not deep sleep. It's not the experience of nothing. Because remember, self is beyond the dvandvas, it's beyond the pairs of opposites. So now in this life, we have the experience of nothing. I experience nothing, such as in deep sleep, or I experience something, which is the state of dreaming and waking.
Okay.
Okay. Janki-ji, a
Right,
follow-up on
difficult.
this.
Sorry, Bharat?
A follow-up on this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, what is actually carrying this report of nothingness? Because self has no thought. So, isn't it the a stray of thought is available which is reporting this?
That's
So,
That's
okay. So,
has
it's not really nothingness, right?
it is nothing compared to the multitude of thoughts that we have. It's like in the chemistry lab, sometimes you go there and that pilot light they keep on. Even sometimes in gas you have it. Like it's just a very tiny bit that's going on. So that little tiny one ray is the least we know. So we call it nothing. So you say, is it on? No, it's not. Because what you're meaning is only that, whatever, what is that thing called? Pilot, isn't it? Pilot light, right? So only that much is there. So you're right. You cannot, that's why the word manifest. How does the self manifest? It manifests as that concept of nothingness. It is that little spark that tells you that there is nothing there. So that's why, how does the self manifest in deep sleep? Because there's the minimal thought available. Even if that minimal thought was not available, you'd become a realized soul, But deep sleep is not realization.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, deep Ganesh here, deep sleep plus knowledge is realization, right?
Deep sleep plus knowledge. No, just the opposite. When there is neither deep sleep nor knowledge, it is realization. Deep sleep is vasanas. How can you make vasanas into realization? Vasanas manifest into thoughts, right? So when
But that is
there
the
are,
closest to self, no, ma'am? Deep sleep.
yes, but you have to remove it, no? Only then will you get to the self. It's the vasanas are the closest covering to the self. So that's why they're the subtlest. But they have to go.
Understand. Follow up Bharat's question. So who carries a report? The intellect carries a report which says that I experience nothing.
Yeah, thought. Yes.
Which is the intellect.
Yeah, a very, very rudimentary.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really say mind or intellect. If you have to say something, you will say intellect, but you don't really, because at that stage, what classification are you doing? It's too rudimentary to classify what kind of thought. But if you say which, it has to be one of the two, then it'll have to be intellect because there's some registration. So you'll have to say intellect, but you just say thought instead of trying to classify it. There's one thought there. But yes.
Chandrasekhar here.
Yeah, one second, Chandrasekhar. Just 1 second. Let me see if I've finished everything on the chat. Samar, for me, dharma means universal law and principle that's equally applied on everyone. We are born and die. One is equal for everyone. Well, the word dharma, Samar, means, if you look up a dictionary, you will have 3 pages on what dharma means. So you have to follow the line of thought. You have to take the meaning in the way we are currently using it. Like that, of course, so many ways you can interpret the word dharma. It's a treatise in itself to think about dharma. So you can't say for me dharma means universal, because either dharma means universal or it doesn't. So universal and for me become 2 opposite concepts to begin with. For me, it is universal. No, either something is universal or it is not universal. You don't come into the picture. Madeline, why are waker, dreamer, deep sleeper separate words? I understand they're separate, but why? Madeline, because they're separate worlds because only specific parts of the personality are manifesting, or not for that matter. In deep sleep, only vasanas exist. And then they manifest as thoughts. So that gives a certain world, just your thoughts. Like even now, for instance, if your thoughts wander away to anything else, then that will give a special kind of world. Like, Shilpa starts now thinking of, oh, how nice it would be if I really was friends with the queen and all this. Suppose she starts thinking, it's a different world created. But when she brings her focus back into what we are currently doing, now this would be a different thing. So what has happened, that this body is become operational. So they create 3 different experiences because 3 different facets are functioning.
I understand this, Janki. Thank you. But what's the point of it? What's the point of this mechanism? That is what I'm trying to understand. Why? What is the point of this construction that we have that is composing us?
Well, what can I say to that? That is just, I guess you have to answer the question just by saying nature. Because it's really like asking the question, why does this world exist? Because this is the nature of things. There will be a seed, there will be a sapling, there's a tree. Then that tree will give forth seeds, and then again those seeds will be saplings and tree. So basically you're asking the question, what is real? And when you say, why does this exist? It boils down to the same question. And the answer to that is only self-realization. So we can't answer it now. Since intellect is close to deep sleep, we may assume so. Yeah, we can call it intellect. Yes, Chandrasekhar, please go ahead.
So my question is, what is the difference between ego, mind, intellect, and how are vasanas created?
Is Salil there? Salil, are you there today? I'm frightened if you ask this question. Okay, so. Okay, can you repeat your question, please?
So what is the difference between ego, mind, intellect, and how are vasanas created? And what is the way to resist the vasanas?
But the last is easy. There's no way to resist vasanas. Vasanas is your nature. What are you going to resist? There's nothing to resist there. So first question was, what is the difference between mind, intellect, and ego? A mind, okay, all of these are a classification of thoughts. When your thoughts, are in the state of saying, I like this, I don't like this, I feel this, I don't feel this, whatever. All your emotions, your likes and dislikes, your whims and fancies. Suddenly you feel like doing something, suddenly you don't feel like doing it anymore, all the whims and fancies. When the thoughts are in that kind of irrational state, emotions, likes and dislikes, the mind is wandering here and there, the thoughts are wandering, there's no specific point at which they are, but they are sort of in a turmoil, going here, there, and everywhere, thinking of the past, thinking of the future. When the thoughts are in this particular state, we call them manas, translated into English as mind. Now, mind in English, as used in Vedanta, is a very specific usage. It's the translation of the word manas, for the simple reason that it is, sounds the same. manas and mind. So therefore, manas got translated into mind. But the English mind, as used in the English language, contains more than manas. Manas means the thoughts in this particular state, likes and dislikes, whims and fancies, emotions, blah, blah, all of that stuff. In English, it means something more. So don't use the English meaning, use the specific jargonized meaning that we are using. So mind means somebody is not muted. Could you mute? So when the thoughts are in that state of likes and dislikes, emotions, whims and fancies, wandering, all that sort of stuff, it's called mind. When the thoughts, maybe same thought also, but the thought is in the state of being rational, discriminative, decisive, judgment, clear thinking, rationality. They are called buddhi, translated into English as intellect. Okay? Now, there are some thoughts in us which say that these emotions are mine. This thinking, this clarity, this decision is mine. Those thoughts that attribute your thoughts to yourself are called ego.
Okay.
Okay, so these are just a particular classification of thoughts. There are various classifications. In this classification, mind is your emotions, likes and dislikes, and all that set. Intellect is your discrimination, reason, judgment, analysis, and all that set. And ego is that which claims that mind, claims that intellect to be yourself. That's called ego. Now, where are vasanas created from? Vasanas are created just like the tree and the seed. A tree creates a seed creates a tree. Vasanas create action, action creates vasanas. It's a loop that we are in. You have a desire for, you have a vasana for something and manifests as a thought, just a thought. And then this thought multiplies. This multiplied thought is known as desire, because when you're multiplying the thoughts, what happens? I want this, I want that, I wish I get it, I this, I hope. All that stuff starts, right? And then that forces you to perform an action. So you have a vasana to see a movie. So you get a thought, I should go see this movie. And then you start thinking, oh, I really have to go and see the movie. And who should I take with me? And where do I get the tickets? And all these desiring start. And that propels the action that your body performs. It propels you to do something. Now, since you got propelled into action because of a desire, that action strengthens the desire. And you have a stronger vasana or a whatever you have, whatever you did. So that's the loop you perform.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Incidentally, I need to tell you also, in the interests of honesty, that this answer was wrong. However, until you tell me what is wrong with it, I will not tell you any other answer.
It is wrong because actions are gross compared to vasanas that's subtle. So action being gross cannot affect the subtle.
Very good, Deepraj. Excellent. So obviously this cannot be correct, because how can a gross thing influence a subtle? Does that now force me to give you the real answer? Because I was trying to escape that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we are going to be studying it soon. And the answer to the question is that vasanas are created by another element of the human personality, which we really haven't studied so far. So it's really not fair to go into that. The vasanas are created by another element known as purushartha. Purushartha means self-effort. Purushartha is subtler than vasanas. And thereby it has the ability to create vasanas. So you have to imagine, a human being and a human being alone has something known as choice. Choice is a very strange thing. Only human beings and only in the waking state of consciousness have that choice. No animal has it, and human beings who are not in the waking state of consciousness also do not have it. A human being who's in the waking state of consciousness only has access, only such a person has access to Purushartha. Has access means has the capacity of choice. It is just a choice to go with your current vasanas or a choice to go against your current vasanas. Purushartha enables us to have the choice. I mean, Purushartha is the choice, and thereby you can increase or decrease your vasanas. Now, we won't take this any further because it's a very big topic in itself. We are going to be studying it in great depth later on in the book. So we won't take it any further because it is a really, it's probably one of the most complicated topics of philosophy, because there is always the question, is our future determined by our past or not? Even science cannot come up with an answer to this, because if you follow causation, then you have no option but to have a predetermined future. Because this causes X causes Y, so Y will cause Z, Z will cause A will cause B, and you have a progression which is entirely predictable in the future. So forget philosophy, science is debated. Do you really have any free will? Do you really have any capacity to think anything different from what you have thought so far? And if you don't, that means your future is entirely predictable because all your actions are predictable. So let's not go there because it's a huge topic and we have a whole chapter devoted to it. When we come there, we'll deal with it. I didn't really expect anyone to think about why it is wrong that action causes vasana.
You actually asked it 3 weeks ago in a Gita class, so I had time to think about it.
Oh, okay. But anyway, you came up with the answer because that's how Vedanta is really learned. You take what you're told and you think about it. Okay? You take it that it is true what you're told, but you refuse to believe it until you understand it. So you keep questioning it. And out of that questioning, true knowledge dawns.
Janki, can I ask a question? Sorry.
One second. Preeti, yeah, I've seen your question.
Okay. Because this has been troubling me for some time.
This is the same question you want, which you've written, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm coming to you. You're next in line.
Okay.
Chandrasekhar, are you okay?
Yes, ma'am. I'm okay. But I still have more questions. I think those are too
Yeah, they're not in, yes, obviously they're not in context, so we can't deal with them. Like if we take things which are not in context, we'll never finish any topic because everything will bring up something else. It's like, I don't know what, it's like you open, it's like you touch one thing, it brings up 100 things. So the biggest intellectual discipline to put upon ourselves is I will deal with only one thing at one time. Otherwise, it's like a whole thing opens up suddenly before you know what happened. Okay, so Preeti, when does the subconscious play a role? Subconscious means not fully conscious. So when are you not fully conscious is the dream state, meaning only the thoughts are playing. There is no registration. There is no registration of the gross reality of this world. That is called subconscious. Like suppose, for instance, we are talking in class now and we're focusing on a particular idea, but the mind tends to go off somewhere else. Why does that happen? Because some word is spoken of and that triggers off some memory or some desire or something, and then you've gone off. Right? So all these thoughts which are subconscious means not fully conscious, means intellect has no jurisdiction over them.
Okay.
Fully conscious means your intellect is conscious of them. Subconscious means you're not really conscious of it. You're not aware of it completely, or very minusculely. Is there such a word? In a very minuscule way, you are cognizant of it. So these things which you yourself do not know, your intellect has not conquered those thoughts, that are not expressing fully. So all of this comes under the dream. It comes under what we are calling in this context the dream state. So you can call unconscious vasana, subconscious dream, and full conscious waking.
Okay. Okay. So that means our thought which we have not assimilated, we do not understand, and the intellect does not work on it.
No, this is very far off. That thought has not fully manifested, is not given full rise to manifestation also.
Okay.
If it comes to what you're talking about, then we'll come in the conscious state. But when I'm in the subconscious state, it's like this stuff going on which you're not even aware of that it's going on. Because it's not even fully manifested. Full manifestation brings it into the waking state, no?
Yeah. I got it. I think I've got it. I'll have to think about it and then get back. Thank you.
Yes, Tinky.
Hariom Janki ji. So you mentioned that the Purushartha is what creates our vasanas. But my understanding was that Purushartha is the only thing with which we can eliminate or reduce vasanas. Like I can make a conscious choice that I will not go with a particular vasana. So that means it both creates and eliminates.
Yeah, it's a choice, no? How can you, whenever you say choice, it's you have a choice. You are free. You're a free bird. You can increase it, you can decrease it, you can do whatever in the world you want. That's what choice means. If you say that, no, you can only do X or Y or Z, then it's not a free choice.
Thank you, Janki.
So coming back to our waker, deeper, dreamer, deep sleeper, which we seem to have left behind a long time ago. Okay, so is that clear so far? Our whole life we go through these three states of consciousness. And when we consider our life, we must consider the fact that we do this. Because we are doing it. It's not that somebody's making this up. It's a fact of our life. And we can use this fact to come to a conclusion that a cat cannot come to. Is there some reality beyond what I am considering right now? So the whole point of it is that. Now, this point may be beyond the scope of composition, but the point of studying composition is only to know that. Why are we studying the human composition? What is the point of it? To understand what is really there. So I say, no, this is not part of human composition. And you'd be right, because it's not technically part, but it's the goal of studying human composition, to understand who am I finally and really. Okay, I know I have panchakoshas, I know I have vasanas, I have the body, mind, intellect, I know all this stuff. I know the composition, but where is this leading me to? How does this tell me who I really am? Because none of these things hold it. None, they're all changing. Vasana is also changing. Everything is changing. And yet I am me. I don't feel I have changed. My sense of identity is still the same. So you're right, Mr. Srinivasan, like, why talk about this in the human composition? That's the whole point of studying it. But I mean, waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, you can call, of course, composition. But taking this whole data to finally find an answer that you came to the path to do, which is, who am I? What is the truth? What is the reality?
Janki-ji, can it be said that we are trying to do negation, like neti? We tend to say we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the intellect, and we keep negating things to arrive at what we could be.
Yes, that is a general Vedantic way of doing things. But in this case, we are at a stage prior to that, in the sense we are just seeing what all is there, and therefore what should I consider, and then finding out that, oh, I can't consider this. Oh, I see, this is also there. We are at a prior to neti stage. Only when you have figured out that there is a reality that you do not know, then you start saying, okay, now how am I proceeding? So this is then negated. So I don't know whether that makes sense. We are at maybe a stage prior to saying neti.
Yes, Janki-ji.
Okay, so who will read the next paragraph?
Janki-ji, may I ask?
Yeah, go ahead, Elsie.
Janki-ji, maybe it is very stupid, maybe. Actually, what is the need to segregate into dream and deep sleep? Because it's all a projection of the waker only,
It's not stupid, Elsie. You need to think about these things. It is a projection of the waker, is said by whom? Who makes this claim?
The waker.
The waker.
Yes.
But is that true? Is it true that it is all derived from the waker? If it be true that it is all derived from the waker, you've just taken the entire concept of vasanas and thrown it out the window. If vasanas are subtler than the wake, than this physical body, then how can everything be derived from the body?
No, vasana may be there, vasana projected through The waker.
How is an effect projecting a cause?
Okay. Let me think about it. How?
Yes,
Okay.
please do. Vasanas are subtler.
Okay.
Correct? Body is grosser. When you say
Yes.
waker, you have come to this body stage, right?
Yes.
Now you're saying the body is projecting vasanas. How is that even
No,
possible?
vasana is projecting body.
Right. If vasana is projecting body, then how
Yes.
is the waker projecting everything? How can both these sentences be true? One of them can be true, right?
No, the waker is just passing through these stages, but waker is there whether in deep sleep or in dream. No.
No, where is the waker in deep sleep and in dream? In dream, LC doesn't exist. LC can dream anything. LC is not bound by the parameters. Okay, let's say the dreamer is whatever, Sarah. Okay, now the Sarah, the LC dream she is not bound by any of the parameters of LC. If LC is a 50-year-old person, Sarah can be 25. If LC is a slim and pretty and petite kind of person, Sarah could be a wrestler and I don't know, whatever.
But we never lose that complete identity, you know. We are always coming back as the same person, you know, from the dream.
Right. You are saying I'm always coming back from the dream as the same person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Suppose you were in the dream.
Yes.
And you slept in the dream. And
Yes.
you woke up in the dream.
Yes.
And you came back to that same Sarah person. Would that prove that that Sarah person is true?
Has to think
This
a
is
lot.
the waker's belief.
Yes.
We feel we are coming back. Are we? In the dream, can you not dream that last night was your birthday party and today you've woken up now and you see last night's birthday party cake in the fridge.
Okay.
When you open the door and you
Okay.
say, of course this is true because I know I came back to the same thing.
I think I have to think a lot about it.
Yes, everybody is ending like that. I don't know what it means. Everyone is saying, I'll think about it, Please do, because these things they're not easy to just grasp straight away. Okay, so I guess that means we can't read the text